Hello everybody. Up to the last sessions, we have covered Unit 1, Unit 2 and Unit 3. And these units are mostly associated with the phenomena of sound, musical instruments, ultrasonics, acoustics and all. Now, in this session, we are going to start our fourth unit, which is related with the DC power supply. Now, we know that the voltage that flow in our home wiring is mostly the alternating voltage, or it is the alternating current. But in most of the cases, what we need to run a circuit is not an alternating current but a direct current. So, when we consider the electricity in that flow through the wiring of our home is nothing but an alternating electricity, alternating current or alternating voltage that varies with respect to time, such that it achieve maxima, again goes to zero, again it achieve maxima but in reverse direction, again goes to zero. And in this way, the nature of this alternating current is the sinusoidal nature. Whereas what we require in most of the circuit is the direct current or something which is just stable one. So we need some instrument or we need some circuitry that can convert this alternating current to a direct current, which is provided by this DC power supply. Now, the main components of this DC power supply are, every DC power supply, it should have a transformer, it contain a rectifier circuit, it contain filters, it contain voltage regulators. These are the parts of any power supply. Now let us see the function of each of these parts one by one. First of all, let us focus on this transformer. This transformer is nothing but a passive electrical device. It is a passive device. Why it is passive device? Because when electricity or when voltage pass through this transformer, there is no amplification of voltage takes place. Rather, what happened? Just the voltage will be transformed. The changing alternating voltage AC that get transformed from one voltage V1 to another voltage V2. This is the only function of transformer. And what it consists of? A transformer is nothing but a core which is made up of soft iron. It is iron core, such that on one end of this or one side of this iron core there is a winding of copper. On another side again there are windings of copper. Why copper only? Because copper has high conductivity as well as high ductility property. high conductivity to carry the electricity with least resistance, and high ductility, so that because of this ductility property we can make more finer wire of this copper. So that's why the copper is used in order to obtain the least losses, power losses in the transformer. So this when the current flows through this wiring we are connecting it to the AC power supply. We call it as the primary winding, and next winding we called it as the secondary winding. This transformer, the function of this transformer is based on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. What this law says? The law says that whenever there is a changing current, the magnetic field will be generated. So when we pass a changing current, that is alternating current, changing current through this primary copper wire, what will happen? This changing current will generate certain magnetic field. So what I am drawing? The magnetic flux lines. So this changing magnetic field will create the current, or it will induce some EMF in this secondary coil. So the transformer, the EMF will be induced in the secondary through the action of induction. In this way, the transformer just changes an alternating current from one value V1 to another value V2. Now, if V1 is less than V2, or if the transformer action takes place in such a way that the resultant voltage in secondary has been increased, so that transformer we called it as the step up transformer. For example, we have given 10 volt power or 10 volt current, 10 volt AC to the primary, and in the secondary, at the output of this secondary, we are getting 30 volt. That means the voltage has been increased. So we called it as the step up transformer. In case when the resultant voltage has been decreased, that is the voltage at this secondary coil decreases, then that transformer we called it as the step down transformer. Step down transformer. And it has been noticed that the ratio of voltage across secondary upon voltage across primary, this ratio is equivalent to the number of turns in secondary upon number of turns in primary. So we can say if the number of turns in secondary are greater one, we called it as the step up transformer. If the number of turns in the secondary are smaller one, we called it as the step down transformer. But actually this transformer work on the principle of power conservation. That means when we consider the electromagnetic induction phenomena in transformer, then what we have to keep in mind? We keep in mind that power, electricity power that has been applied to primary, that is IP into Vp. Power is nothing but product of current into voltage, current and voltage. So current in primary into voltage in primary, it should be equals to current in secondary and into voltage in secondary. So what we will obtain? The ratio of Vs by Vp, Vs by Vp, it should be equals to current in primary upon current in secondary. and this is again equals to NS, that is number of turns of secondary upon number of turns in primary. So this is what we have to remember about a transformer. Okay, now next to the transformer, the next part of any power supply, DC power supply, is the rectifier circuit. It is the rectifier circuit. Now a rectifier is nothing but the circuitry that convert an alternating current to direct current. What transformer is doing? Transformer is supplying the required amount of voltage. It is supplying the required amount of voltage, because what voltage or whatever electricity that will be generated in power plant, the voltage of that electricity is very high, of the order of 20 kilovolt. 20 kilovolt. This much of huge voltage has been generated in the power plant. But at our home, what we receive? The voltage of about 230 volt only. That means it has been decreased from 20 kilovolt to 230 volt. By what circuitry it has been decreased? By using the step down transformer. Now the required voltage, the AC voltage, that is sinusoidally varying voltage, that will be the input to the rectifier, and it is the rectifier that convert this alternating current to a direct current, or what we say, to a stable current. Okay, we don't want such type of alternating current. Rather, what we want a stable current, and that will be given by this rectifier circuit. Now the basic rectifier circuit or basic component in electricity field that perform this rectification process is nothing but the diode. We know this is a P-N junction diode. This is P material, this is N material, semiconductor material, and this we called it as the diode. We know that diode is conducting diode when we connect it in forward bias. That means when P terminal is connected to positive, N terminal is connected to negative, we call it as the forward biased diode, and in this case the diode is highly conducting. The diode is conducting when it is forward biased. Whereas if we connect this diode in reverse bias, that is P terminal, let us connect it to negative of battery, N terminal, let us connect it to positive of battery. So in this case the diode is in reverse bias, so it is non-conducting. Ideally it should be non-conducting. So when we apply an alternating current to this diode during positive half cycle, what will happen? This P terminal is positive and N terminal is negative. So in this positive half cycle, the diode will act as a conducting material, and as a result of which we will get the same input pulse as it is. But what will happen in the negative cycle? In the negative cycle, this P terminal, it become negative, while N region it become positive. P region become negative, N becomes positive, as a result of which the diode become reverse biased, and as a result of which it will not conduct at all in the negative half cycle. That means ideally what we expect like this, but this diode, as it is non-conducting in reverse bias, we will not get any of the output, and in this way what we will get such type of output signal. So this process that will be performed by this diode, we called it as the rectification. It is the process of converting alternating current to a direct current. Now the rectifiers, we have to consider two types of rectifiers, that is half wave rectifier and second we have to consider the full wave rectifier. Half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. First of all, let us just focus on this half wave rectifier in this session. Now, how this half wave rectifier will be constructed? Firstly, as required, it consists of a transformer. These are the primary windings of transformer. These are the secondary windings of transformer. The output of the secondary is connected to what we called it as, what we have seen here as the diode. It is connected to diode. A load resistance is applied here in the circuitry. And across this load resistance, we are going to measure the output voltage V, let us say DC, and what we are applying here is the AC power or AC voltage. So this is the circuit diagram of half wave rectifier. Now, as we have said here, when we apply an alternating voltage in this way, during the first half cycle, this terminal become positive, this terminal become negative, as a result of which diode become forward biased and it will conduct during positive half cycle. Whereas in negative half cycle, this P region become negative, N region it become positive. Thus diode become reverse biased, and in reverse bias the diode will not conduct at all, so we will get nothing. Again in next half cycle, next positive cycle, it will conduct. In reverse pulse it will not conduct at all, and in this way we will get such type of positive cycles only. That means what we are getting is the direct current. As a result of this half wave rectifier, we are getting a direct current. But the drawback of this direct current is that it is not a stable continuous current, but it is pulsating direct current. It is pulsating DC supply. This half wave rectifier is it gives a pulsating DC supply. Now, this is the working of half wave rectifier. But we have to see the mathematical analysis of half wave rectifier now. But before looking at this mathematical analysis, I have to share something very important. We are saying that AC is something which varies sinusoidally with respect to time. So as time varies, the voltage, first it was at its minimum position, it achieves maximum, again comes to the zero, again achieve maximum but in reverse direction, again comes to zero. So this is the sinusoidal variation. During one cycle, within one cycle, it achieves this maximum position twice. So at this point the voltage is maximum or current is maximum. So we call that maximum voltage as Vp, that is peak voltage. So this is positive peak voltage, this is negative peak voltage, right? But when we say that there is a current or voltage having voltage of about say 6 volt, then what is this 6? Whether it is the maximum voltage? No. What we consider this 6 is the RMS voltage. VRMS. How it has been calculated? Suppose for one cycle, the one half cycle, the whole values of voltages are V1, V2, V3 and so on. Say Vn. Now this VRMS mathematically is V1 square plus V2 square plus V3 square plus Vn square divided by n and its square root. Mathematically. So this is the VRMS. But actually the VRMS is the value of voltage that will result the same power when we consider it as a DC supply. The RMS value of an AC voltage is something which result into the same power when we consider it as a DC source. We called it as the VRMS. So whenever we consider that the voltmeter is showing the reading 10 volt. So that 10 is nothing but it's the RMS value of the voltage and not the peak value of voltage. Okay, so this is one point that one should know, and this VRMS is always smaller one as compared to Vp, maximum value of voltage. Now apart from VRMS, there is one more term, what we called it as VDC, if it is we are speaking about the DC source, or we have to remember V average. That is now at each and every point the value of voltage is different one. So if we take the average of voltage over this half cycle, average of voltage over half cycle, then whatever average we will get, we called it as VDC. We called it as the VDC, the average value of voltage over one half cycle. We called it as VDC. Why not the full cycle, the average over full cycle? Because the average over full cycle is 0 and that is meaningless. So how we will take the average? We will consider the average only over the half cycle of the voltage. The average we called it as the VDC. And now in our next part, what we have to consider, we have to derive the expression for this VRMS or IRMS. RMS means root means square current, and DC current. We have to derive the expressions for that.